Okay, no, you're good. All right.
All right, thanks for having me at the event. Thought I'd give a little background first. Jim Kovach. My background is always an interest in technology, but a physician by training. Played 7 years in the NFL long ago, and I have 4 concussions from the NFL itself. But today I had a chance to join CrowdOptic and actually give context and focus to location-based services. We actually call it focus-based services. What we do is lever the technologies that exist in a smartphone, and by designing algorithms that actually are based on triangulation, allows us viewing, taking a picture through the app, through a camera, allow you to detect, tag, and curate the overlapping lines of sight. So it takes location and basically within a sporting venue, entertainment, and even out into the wild, as we call it, allow you to identify what people are looking at, what crowds are looking at, momentum shifts, and all quantitated and analyzed. And so let me talk a little bit about how we've actually built that out into a business. It's actually one more slide on triangulation itself. These are actually lines of sight taken from one of our events, the Bank of the West Tennis Classic. So you see about 50 people here with overlapping lines of sight, kind of clustered around the 2 tennis participants. One of these was Maria Sharapova, so it's the denser set of lines, as you could tell. But basically, what it does is, again, you're in we've geocoded each venue very quickly using Google Map, and then using things like heading and tilt, we actually distinguish between when the camera is on a seat, so it's not active, tilted up, basically turns on and allows one to track dynamically. So you basically can think about how you can associate information with that, whether it's advertising or statistical information. Indeed, what we found is with our events, everyone's a little bit different. With Infineon NASCAR, we're launching the Toyota Save Mart 350, which is a NASCAR event. The Infineon track up in Sonoma County is very undulating, and we have a feature that allows, so their need was to be able to share photos, crowdsource photos. You hear a screech, but you're blocked from view. You can't see it. Turn the camera. Basically, it triggers, you join a cluster, you join a discussion, and then you can see pictures that are being taken by people who have witnessed the accident itself, join discussion pages. We can do video as well, but basically starting with pictures and photographic evidence. At the Oscars, there people want to see people first getting out of the car, so we were able to authenticate, create discussions. These are basically prioritized, we think, in terms of the social network by having people who were there, not only a single individual, but discussions that occur and can be launched either. Talk a little bit more about a sponsor's own social network or through touch and click and distribute traditional social media like Twitter and Facebook. IMG Tennis, what we did in that event was really focus on association through a data feed of statistical information that changed dynamically as the athletes move back and forth. So it's not facial recognition as some have thought, but basically depends on the fact that we know, if you know where an athlete is, so it's better built for baseball. It's kind of hard with fast-moving sports, although racing is a fast-moving sport. But basically, if you want the statistical analysis, you basically rely on a data feed from the event itself and the knowledge of where an athlete's going to be. We saw that there would be applications with security, so either with a fan or security personnel that right now state-of-the-art in security, like at Candlestick Park and other places, is texting, and this allows authenticated pictures to be taken, go to the cloud, they're not stored on the phone, provides evidentiary information, and allows through a data feed in the command and control. Basically, it's an iPad to be able to communicate back out to officers and make deployment decisions. And lastly, we did the Super Bowl Village. Again, it was heat maps of fans as they shifted from bands to bands within Indianapolis and allowed us to create discussions. Here's a visual. We didn't actually see President Obama. This is just basically the idea. People in the crowd point their phone, take a picture. That triggers a cluster, the formation of what we call a cluster, the overlapping lines of sight, the invitation to join a discussion. People can then go to a page that is similar to other social networking page and add comments, and then distribute those to each other, but then also to others outside the event. So we think with things like with connected TV, efforts of sports venues to maintain audiences that are declining as the TV audience gets better, the potential of creating a discussion back and forth. You're at the event. The people at home want to know what it's like at the event itself, and the people in the event want to tell everyone they're there, right? So it's we think it's kind of a two-way street that we can develop. So speed, I think, is a key. Authentication, and then we spend a lot of time working on curation, so improving the technology. And really with Infineon and other events, we white label. Our goal as a business is not so much to develop apps, but essentially to bolt on to apps that are already out there and present. And so it all starts with the cluster that activates the discussion. And just to reiterate that the discussion a sponsor may buy or license could be a team, could be a venue owner itself. We're in discussions with a ticket provider in a foreign country that basically is trying to capture and personalize the experience for that ticket holder and have other opportunities to upsell. In NASCAR, Infineon, we found a lot of interest in individual racers, race teams, of basically connecting more with sponsors, of showing the sponsors how many people are viewing them, of showing the sponsor what they're interested in within the framework of it, whether it's the racer, is it the pit stop, is it the technology. Those sorts of things are really resonating with different sports and different athletes and teams within that sport. And so I guess, we've all seen with the social network, take Twitter as an example, how can one take massive amount of information and curate it and filter it? And we think being able to authenticate crowdsourced photos is one example at the event, tagged, and then distributed first within the social medium owned by the sponsor, but then out there into the broader social network, allows opportunities for advertising, monetizing finally through mobile in a little bit better way, what people are looking at so that you could associate appropriate advertising prices with that. Quick example, let's see, I think, okay. Just to show you at the Oscars, we had about 100 individuals at the red carpet down there at Hollywood and Highland, and Andrew was a UCLA student who is lucky and strong enough, I guess, to get a really good view of the stars as they were exiting. He got this picture of Jennifer Lopez immediately as she exited limbo before she started walking up the red carpet. There were others around that basically got a view of her as well, and Andrew started the discussion, so it's his discussion page, and he gives an incentive for the person to be the first one, and so he starts a discussion, and others have a chance to join it. You can join discussions, you can leave discussions, there's particular architecture allows us to go back to discussions. There's a history feature as well, even for a track, for example, with Infineon, that you can go layer on a history of what happened at a turn, so elements like that. But in this particular case, tracking on the dashboard where the clusters are located and following them dynamically, and then with the touch, just getting those out into the broader network. Here's our management team. So I'm right at 10 minutes, and hope to have questions either now or in the panel discussion. But thank you very much. you want to go now or later?
If you want to go ahead and ask questions now.
No? Okay. Yes.
I heard you mention curation. How do you scale with that, and what kind of technologies do you use? Is there any image or visual recognition that helps to automate it?
No, actually, to date, so we don't use visual recognition. So in let's say USA Gymnastics is a group we work with, and so there you have 4 different things occurring simultaneously: the floor, the vault, the beams, and basically people are taking pictures of the vault. Okay, so in terms of curating, so there's scale, there's magnitude that we're in the process of addressing, and then there's like quality, I would call it. So, but either way, it's working with the event provider to incorporate their own ideals, the things they want to highlight and the things they don't want to highlight. So with gymnasts, with female gymnasts and others, like young kids and stuff, so doing moves where you're doing vaults and things like that, you want to be careful in terms of 2 things. One is like an inappropriate sort of posts that would be there, but then also we learned that if you post and get out there into the social medium pictures where someone was a little bit off or their feet were off, the judges might actually see those things and take that into account. So they're like really sensitive in terms of. But either way, that's their, crowdsourced photos are their data. So that's theirs to do and then to post. And so it really kind of gets at this issue we think of the fact that number one, crowdsourced photos are available. They're not owned by the media giants. I mean, they're there. I mean, you hear the Olympics trying to crack down on people taking pictures, but they're going to take pictures. So our feeling is, why not get the sponsors involved and help them kind of have control over what they want to post and kind of connect it to their own website. In terms of massive scale, so there's a concept called clusters anywhere. I mean, typically we work around an event, but events happen all over the world, right? So there's really nothing about a bounding box that should limit an event at all. That's something that we're in the process of working with our algorithms, and that's kind of what I see as our value add is in terms of working with sponsors and brand owners. We'll figure that out as we kind of get out there. The next big thing for us is going to be to have a consumer app, we call it, to put it out there in the wild at the Olympics this coming year. But that's a good question. That's how we've done it to date.
Yes. As far as I know, most existing photo sharing platforms don't really support any kind of extra data to tell you about line of sight. How do you plan to coexist with things like Instagram with basically the existing photo taking mechanisms that are on most phones?
Yeah.
Are you planning to provide your own app that's going to
No, that's a really good question. So it was like, how would we coexist with Instagram? And our goal and efforts will be designed to identify, and we have identified a kind of one of the large internet integrators to lever off of their presence with consumers, and then their cameras that have a lot of Instagram-like capabilities. So we think that's a better way to do, is to like bolt on to that and like provide additional functionality for those existing cameras that have. Some cases you have tens and tens of millions. I think it's like Yahoo Sportacular, for example, has 80 million viewers or 80 million users. So if we could bolt onto like a Flickr or something like that, would be really a logical thing to do. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks. We'll have more time. Thank you very much.